Hi, everyone, and welcome to Wellness Musings with Meg. This is going to be a Valentine's Day themed podcast episode. We're going to be talking a lot about self love. This is something that is near and dear to my heart, something I'm still learning, but I think it's a really lovely thing to talk about. I've got a really weird Valentine's coming up, not traditional at all. I'm actually going to be going to my very first hen party. One of my bestest friends is going to be getting married, and yeah, Valentine's is her hen party, and it's my very first hen party. I don't know what to expect, but we've got some awesome things planned, and I'm so excited. But yes, in today's episode, we are going to be talking all about self love, ways that you can practice self love, why it's important to practice self love and self care. And yeah, just kind of looking at the importance behind it because Valentine's is all about love. So whether you're with somebody, whether you're having a Galentine's Day or whatever is going on in your life, I do think it's really important to appreciate the love for yourself. So that's what we're going to be talking all about in this episode. So let's go, let's get straight into it, and I will see you guys on the other side. Hi, my name is Meg, and you are listening to the Wellness Musings with Meg podcast. I am a fully qualified beautician and yoga teacher who has studied and worked in health and wellness since 2017. I have been obsessed with wellness my entire life and have always wanted to share my passions more. If you love health, wellness, and yoga and want to learn more, this podcast is for you. I will be bringing you all things wellness from diet and lifestyle to beauty tips and tricks, and of course, yoga as well. So grab yourself a green tea and find a tranquil spot, and let's jump in. Do you ever look at those people that just seem to kind of have everything figured out and they always seem really happy, and you just kind of look at them and you're like, what's your secret? And that has been me for so many years, where I've always felt like I've been on the outside looking in and looking at these people, and I'm like, how are you so happy? Like, how are you so confident and yeah, like have so much, it is confidence at the end of the day. And I look at them and I'm like, what is your secret? And I honestly think it's self-love. It really is. Every single person that I look at who inspires me, who I want to be like, comes across to me like they just have their life figured out, and they just have like faith in themselves, and they just seem to do everything really well, and everything seems perfect in their life. Now, I'm not stupid. I'm sure that those people have got their own things going on. 100% everybody does. But I do look and I just think like, how are you so confident to be able to wear that? Or how are you so like able to just make a statement like that and just feel so like those people that are on the borderline of delirium, where they're so confident in themselves. And I will hold my hands up and genuinely say I am envious of that, because that is not me. I really struggle to feel confident in my own skin, and to be like, to feel good about myself, and to be honest, to actually talk confidently about myself. I really struggle to do that. And it's not something that comes easy to me at all. But I do look at like some of my friends, they are absolutely stunningly gorgeous. And I can see that. And you know what? It makes me so happy that they can see that. And yeah, I do look at them and think like, how can you go out like in that? How can you take a picture of yourself and post that on the internet with you wearing that and being so confident in yourself, and like going out and just being quite an extroverted person? And there has been times in my life where I have felt like that in the past. It's been fleeting moments, and I definitely have had good years and bad years when I've had relationships with myself. If anyone has listened to any of these other episodes, you'll know when I was younger, I had anorexia. So I have definitely had good times and bad times when it comes to having a relationship with myself. And it's something I think I will forever work on. But I do just like, I don't know if I'm the only person, but I do look at some people and I just think like I would love to be so in love with myself, the way that I look and the way that I present myself to the world. I would love to be so deliriously in love with myself that like people go, oh my God, like she's in love with herself. That's not a bad thing necessarily. I mean, good for them. Good for them. I like you are the only person that has to live with yourself 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days of the year for your entire life. From the moment you are born to the moment that you die, you are with you all the time. And if you believe in like an afterlife and a spirit, you're with yourself for eternity. There is no getting away from you. So you need to be in love with you, because if you can't do that, it's going to make everything very difficult. And I know it's a lot easier said than done for some people, and I'm definitely one of those people, but investing that time and energy into finding self-love and into, yeah, like being more comfortable in your own skin and being who you are and being okay with that, I think, I mean, it can be a really sensitive subject for some people, 100%, especially people who are maybe hiding behind a mask or don't feel like they can be themselves because they're so ashamed. Like, yeah, it must be really hard to live like that. But in this episode, I kind of want to talk about why it is important to practice self love and acceptance. So, if you are someone who maybe struggles to accept themselves because they know society might not necessarily accept them or it's not the norm, starting with yourself is a good place to start, accepting who you are and being okay with that. You don't necessarily have to take the step to share it with the rest of the world if you don't ever want to, but I do think it's important to love that part of yourself, even if it's a part that you don't want to love about yourself. I mean, I feel like for me, having anorexia is kind of one of those parts. And there's so many other things as well that I've had in the past. And they're all things that I'm kind of accepting and learning to accept. And there are definitely parts of myself that I wish I could change 100%. And maybe I will, maybe I won't, who knows. But yeah, I do think it's important to accept those parts of you and be okay with them. So, why is self love important? This actually took me a really long time. This whole episode actually took me a long time to plan, because this is something that, like I said, I'm currently still learning myself. And it was really nice and kind of interesting for me to learn and research and really think about why self love is important, because especially if you're going through a patch where maybe you bury your head in the sand and you think, oh, what, like, why should I bother? Why should I do it? When you sit and actually think about why it will benefit you, it makes you want to do it. I guess it's like, you realize why you should be putting that effort in, why you should be like using your time and energy to do that. Self love counteracts negative self talk and it kind of builds emotional resilience. And I guess in some ways, those people who I was saying in the beginning who just seem to be, I don't know, like in invincible when it comes to your words, like they don't seem bothered by anyone's opinions or like what people think of them, because they only value their own opinion. And I guess that's because they've got very good emotional resilience, and that must be lovely to like not worry about what people think of you and to just go follow the beat of your own drum. But self-love will counteract negative self-talk, because if you're constantly being negative towards yourself, it's going to make a huge difference if you then flip that and start doing the complete opposite and start, yeah, the more positive self-talk you give yourself and the more you kind of are your own cheerleader, the more you're going to believe it and the more you're going to actually believe that. Whereas the more negative you talk about yourself and talk to yourself, the more you're going to believe that. There's an amazing book called Awaken Your Power Within by Jerry Hussey, which I read a little while ago and I absolutely loved it. And That book talks so much about how important it is to change the negative self-talk and change it to positive self-loving talk. And yeah, if you've not listened to that book or read that book, it is worth it is so worth it. I had it on Spotify audiobooks is how I listened to it. So and I absolutely loved it. And it kind of shows you how powerful giving yourself positive self talk and self love is. So that's a good book to have a little look and listen to. Self love also promotes mental health and it keeps anxiety and depression at bay. But then I guess if you're happy because you're always being nice to yourself, it's that kind of makes sense, doesn't it? And it leads to better relationships. RuPaul says at the end of every single drag show episode, if you can't love yourself, how on earth are you going to love somebody else? And that is so true. I think when you meet people and when you create a relationship with someone, it is really important to find someone who builds you up rather than tears you down, which I feel like is really obvious, but actually a lot of people fall into that trap. But if you have a bad relationship with yourself, if you meet somebody who does talk down to you or doesn't give you the respect that you deserve, because you've not talked to yourself or not loved yourself, and if you don't think you deserve that, you're not going to get it. So, if, like, for example, I know 100% that I deserve to be with somebody who loves me, cares for me, tells me I'm beautiful, tells me they love me, shows me affection. I know I deserve that. Like, bare minimum, that's what I deserve. So if I met somebody and that's because I've told myself, like, that's what I've told myself is what I expect, what I want, and what I would like. And so if I met somebody who didn't do those things, because I, in myself, have told myself so many times, you deserve this, you deserve a person who does this, you deserve to be happy, and of someone who will do this and do this will, that. So I will then flag it and go, okay, this person's clearly not right for me. Whereas if I'm somebody who tells myself I'm ugly, not deserving of love, don't deserve to be hugged or shown affection, and then I meet somebody who does those things and doesn't, tells me, oh, maybe you could lose a few pounds, or yeah, you're not the prettiest girl I've ever been with, and things. If somebody talked to me like that, I would sit there and go, well, hold on a second, I don't deserve that, because I've told myself. Do you know, if that makes sense? What you tell yourself you are and what you deserve will mimic in your relationships. I know so many people that have fallen into the trap of kind of thinking that a relationship is going to save them, when actually you can only save yourself. Somebody else might care so deeply for you and want to help you so badly. But if you don't believe that you're beautiful and worth love, then you will never it doesn't matter how much somebody would tell you that, you're not going to believe it, and it just becomes a vicious cycle. That's why self-love is important before you get into a relationship or while you're in a relationship, because if you're telling yourself things like, I'm a lovely person, I'm a nice person, I'm beautiful, I'm worth loving, and in that your relationship you're getting the opposite from your partner, you need to have a serious think. And yeah, I feel like this it's obvious from the outside, but when you're in it, sometimes it's really hard to know that that's what you're going through. And self-love improves your happiness. If you love yourself, it's lovely. Like I said right at the beginning, you're the only person that spends all the time that you do with yourself. Like, nobody else on the planet will ever spend as much time with you as you do. Like, even when you go to sleep, things that have happened in your day, your fears, your worries, even your self-talks and your beliefs might come into your dreams. I've genuinely had dreams where, because I'm worried about, like, I don't know, the way that I look or something like that, that will mimic through in my dreams. So I can't even escape in my dreams. And you are the only person that's with you all the time. So it's important to create a happy place within and feel good from the inside. And so becoming best friends with yourself and having that self love with yourself is going to really, really help, because it will help improve your happiness because you're living in a happier place. It's your body is like your permanent home. So, we've talked about why it's important. How do you put this into practice? And this is something that I've had to kind of learn over many, many years, and I'm still learning now. 100%, I'm still learning it all now. I think it's important to find what makes you feel good about yourself. So, for me, 100% is pampering, putting time and effort into myself, whether that's doing my nails or like doing my hair, putting some makeup on. They sound very superficial, but that act of spending time to make yourself like, for example, every time I do my nails and I then look down at my nails and I think, oh, they look really nice. And it's me giving myself positive self talk. So when I pamper myself, and then I see what I've done, like that's where that positivity comes back around. So for me, pampering really helps. Exercise makes a big difference as well. Yoga does massively help, especially like when I meditate and I'll do like self-love meditations. But when it comes to self-love, I do genuinely think either doing like a hard, intense vinyasa or ashtanga class or something like that, which really pushes me, or Pilates, or even like if I go for a little run, those are more of the exercises that I find I feel I get the more benefit from like a self love perspective. Because when I leave, I feel like I've really put the effort in. Like I feel like it's giving yourself something back, isn't it? Because, like, for me, body image is something I do struggle with still to this day. And so, when I put that effort into exercise and I exercise very intensely, it's like the body dysmorphia a little bit. Like, I will go, right, well, I've worked out, I've done really well, I've broken a sweat, blah, blah, blah. So it's all in the mind, but self love is all in the mind anyway. I think gratitude as well for me is something that really, really helps. So I always say how important gratitude is, but when you look at it from a self love perspective, it's a really nice way. Like, I will sit there and I'll think of all the things I'm grateful for. Like, I'm really grateful for my hair. I've I think I've got nice hair. And like, my eyebrows are natural, and being a beautician, I have a lot of people that spend a lot of money trying to achieve what my eyebrows are naturally like. And I have a lot of friends that will have like Botox and fillers and lip fillers done, and I don't feel like I need to have that done. And I feel very grateful that I don't feel like that way. Um, I've never had braces, and I feel very lucky that, like, I'm grateful that I was born with naturally nice teeth. So these are the things that you can sit and look at and talk about. Like, I sit and just think about all the things that you're grateful for, like what God has given you or what you've got. Like, just be grateful for those things. Um, yeah, like, even if you are someone that's had, like, my hair isn't naturally this blonde, but I'm grateful. Like, I still love my hair, even though it's not naturally like bright white blonde. Um, but I still love it and I'm still grateful for it and I still really like it. Like, it doesn't, like, if you are someone that's had fillers or Botox done or has had something done, doesn't mean you shouldn't be grateful for it. Like, be grateful that you love it. Like, sit and appreciate what you have, whether it's natural or not. Sit and appreciate it. And I do think I like to treat myself as acts of self love. So, like, when I buy myself something like a top, a dress, even if it's like a product or anything like that, I really take the time to appreciate it and to really enjoy it as much as I can. Like, I try and treat my body like a temple, because to me, in my eyes, my body is beautiful and it's sacred and it's my place. Like, it's my temple, it's where I dwell in this life. And so I want to be happy here. I want to love where I am. And it's hard, and it's something I think I'll always be working on, is that relationship. And knowing my luck, the day I die will be the day that I have a good relationship with my body. And I will always try and continually try and strengthen that relationship with myself. I'm lucky that I'm kind of come to this realization in my early 20s. And in fact, I was practicing self love from a very young age, from like 12, 13, because that's when I was ill with anorexia and I had counseling. And when they were counseling me to kind of help me, they were teaching me so much. Like, they were teaching me how to love myself and how to give myself self love and how to flip the switch in my brain from negative self talk to positive self talk. I've always advocated for having counseling if you feel like you're in a really dark place, because I mean, it saved my life. Yeah. And ever since then as well, like ever since I was ill, that like when I had anorexia, they told me that they were surprised I was alive and they were surprised I hadn't had a heart attack and just died. And that at 13 is quite a big thing to realize, is that you like, I was always appreciative of my life and loved my life, but at 13 you don't go into depth of how lucky you are to be there. And then and you think you're invincible when you're that age, and then to be told that actually they were surprised you were alive and that you hadn't just like passed out and had a heart attack because your blood pressure is so low and your heart is under so much strain. And I was like, oh gosh, okay. And ever since then, I've actually been grateful for it happening, and I would never go back and change it, because it literally made me appreciate my life, everything in it. And it gave me this attitude of like my body being a temple, because I almost lost it. I almost lost everything without even realizing. And so now, like, I try and feed myself the best food possible. Like, I've never smoked a cigarette. I don't even drink coffee. I don't drink alcohol. Like, if I ever drink alcohol, it's on the rarest of occasions. I can't even remember the last time I drank it. Like, I really do treat myself like a queen, because I almost lost everything. And I will never ever play Russian roulette with that again. I will never, like, it's just never appealed to me, like smoking or taking drugs or any of that kind of lifestyle has ever appealed to me, because I know that life is a risk, and like even driving your car is a risk, but that you kind of need that like you need to do that for life. But for me, those things are things that I just want my body to be in the best place it ever can be. It's why I love yoga so much, because yoga is all this stuff comes into yoga. So that's why I practice yoga so much, and that's why I wanted to teach it. But yes, I treat my body as well as I physically can do, because I personally think that's what I deserve, and that is how I practice self-love as well. One of the very first things I did years ago was to stand in front of a mirror and to look at myself, really look at myself, and just stay and look at myself, and then find things that I liked. And then anything negative that came into my brain, I would then stop myself and I would then think of something positive instead. And that is a bloody hard thing to do. That's one of the best things I've done to help with my self-love, but and like my relationship with my body. But it's one of the hardest things, is to just genuinely stand there and just look at yourself. And I actually think my YouTube channel has helped me a lot, because I'm constantly editing videos of myself and I have to look at myself. And some days it's definitely harder than others, but it's getting easier and easier the more I do it. Practicing, stand in front of a mirror, have a look at yourself, like for like 5 minutes, just stand and look at yourself, and try and make everything that comes into your brain, because you'll get thousands of thoughts in those 5 minutes. Honestly, it's insane. Every time there's a negative one, turn it into a positive. So, like, I don't know, oh, my eyelashes are short, and then be like, yeah, but they're there and they're beautiful, and look at the color, they're a really dark black color, like they really stand out, or they work with my eyes, or when I smile, my eyes look really beautiful. And so change what you're thinking, into a positive, from a negative to a positive. I feel like this has been a very like superficial episode, but for me, like that's where my self-love has gone, like that's where I've struggled. But I think if you're struggling with self-love from a like from a looking perspective, like the way that you look, those are the sort of things that you need to do. If it's from a personal perspective, something about yourself, like internally, journaling is always really good. And yeah, I mean, always speak to somebody if you feel like you need to, because a professional counselor is always going to help you to find the right way to go. And the best thing about counseling is that they don't tell you what to do. They help you find what you need to do. So they'll kind of, lead you to where you need to go, lead you to what's the best thing for you. I feel like this has been a quite, for me, like talking about quite a heavy episode, but yeah, I've enjoyed it and I hope you guys have as well. I really hope you enjoy your Valentines, whether you're spending it on your own. Maybe you're going to work on self love. Maybe you're spending it with girls or guys and having a Galentine's, or maybe you are spending it with somebody special. But whatever you're doing for your Valentines, I really hope you enjoy it and I will see you very soon. Thanks. Bye.